After 12 years away, Pompey's return to the second tier looks all but confirmed. They have been the best team in the EFL League One this season under the stewardship of John Mousinho, and in my opinion look better equipped than ever to return to the Championship, and not only that, but to really challenge among some of the big boys in the second tier that will be competing next season. Last season was a one of disappointment from a Pompey perspective. They had Danny Cowley starting the season as manager, safe pair of hands, very experienced in all three leagues in the Championship and League One and League Two. But ultimately, the squad assembled should have been far better than he was. Left them in mid-table, was sacked after a 3-1 defeat at home to Charlton. After that, John Mousinho was hired. John Mousinho, 66 days before he was announced as Portsmouth manager, was still actively playing for Oxford United in a fellow League One club. So to take that element of risk was massive, and to come into a high pressure environment and a volatile environment like Pompey, where there's so much pressure on them, especially being one of the best sides, or should be one of the best sides in League One, one of the biggest clubs in the EFL League One. That was a lot of pressure put on John Mousinho, and expectation was definitely there. 14 new players came in through the door at Pompey this summer, and it's not just the quantity of the players. I also want to talk about the quality of some of them, because the likes of Alex Robertson, likes of Abu Kamara, Alex Robertson before he got injured, Regan Poole before he got injured, Jack Sparks, Will Norris, Corner Shaughnessy, have all been really a part of this Pompey spine, and have all been really crucial to this John Mousinho system. Another thing I want to talk about is the average age of the players coming in, 22.2. So they didn't just bring in players for the short term and to aim for promotion this season, but they also have brought a lot of them in. Yes, some of them, all three loan players have been, quite young, but a lot of them are brought in with a longer term vision as well, which Richard Hughes and John Mousinho both have to be given equal credit for. As a result, 15 players went out of the building, the likes of Michael Jacobs, Roman Curtis were just two of them. But the point is, Pompey really had a revamp of this squad, and ultimately it was much needed in order to make a smooth transition to this John Mousinho system. A couple of these players, from a financial perspective as well, were on free transfers, but can also make Pompey a hell of a lot of profit in the future. The likes of Regan Poole and maybe even Kusini Yengi are just going to be really, really top players in the future. And even if the loan market, like Robertson, Kamara, and Tino Anjorin, who came in on a loan deal in the summer, even if they're not going to be sticking around for ages, they're still going to be making an impact on the squad. And ultimately, they've needed to find a balance, and I think they've done that to perfection with hindsight. Pompey needed to make a quick start with the rivals around them, the likes of Derby, the likes of Peterborough, Barnsley, in particular Bolton as well, that they just needed to get off to a quick start, give themselves a little buffer, and they did exactly that. They won 16 games at the start of the season unbeaten. They found themselves top of the league. The first defeat came at home against Blackpool in November. During the 16-game unbeaten run, what was the most telling thing from a Portsmouth perspective was that this group of players had some real character about them. They won 7 games at the start of the season by the odd goal. 6 goals were scored past the 75th minute, which shows real character and shows a side that was just not willing to give up. A never say die attitude. I talked about it in the Ipswich video as well. A never say die attitude and a style of football that ultimately is wearing teams down, which is absolutely massive. From those opening 16 games, they accumulated 36 points, which is 2.25 points per game, which is above the threshold, I'd say. Especially in League One level this season, you'd need to get into that top 2. So the standard being set by this Pompey side at the start of the season was just absolutely ridiculous. After the unbeaten run, though, they did go on a bit of a poor run for the next 6 games. 3 losses in their next 6, accumulating just 5 points in that period as well. So to go from comfortable title-winning form to pretty much relegation form in that period was quite concerning, and alarm bells did start to ring. 3-0 loss at home to Leyton Orient, 2-1 loss away at Bristol Rovers, that 4-0 defeat at home to Blackpool as well. So a lot of goals were shipping in, but ultimately, it's what you do after that 6-game unbeaten run that ultimately matters the most. I've talked about the character of this Pompey side, and it was exactly that. It was in full show. The bounce back ability after that 6-game run was just top notch. They won 9 out of their next 12 games, accumulating 2.58 points per game, which was even better than the 16-game unbeaten run they had at the start of the season. Just unbelievable, and really, really testament to John Mousinho's man management skills and the style and the culture he had created at Portsmouth. At 37 years of age, and with the possession and the real patient style of football that John Mousinho does like to deploy, he does fit the new trend of managers coming through the footballing leagues, really being given an opportunity to show what they're all about, and their coaching kind of systems and their styles being the top priority. Sometimes when you deploy a possession, patient style of football, it can be quite difficult for certain teams to break down opposition if you don't have the adequate quality and if you come up against a good defensive structure. It can be difficult. But ultimately, it hasn't been a problem for Pompey this season. They've averaged 1.5 goals per game this season, showing they're really, really good going forward and also quite clinical as well. And they've averaged, whilst doing that, they've averaged 59% possession per game. So they've not really deterred from their style of play, the philosophy that John Mousinho has been instilling into them since he's come in through the door. He can't do it all on his own. He needs the players to be able to go and execute this game plans. So let's have a little focus on 3 players in particular who I think have been absolutely crucial to how Portsmouth have played this season. Let's start with the person in goal and has been in goal all season. That's Will Norris, who signed on a permanent transfer, on free transfer after his contract at Burnley expired. So he's had to quickly adapt to this John Mousinho system and has done so absolutely brilliantly. For a goalkeeper in this John Mousinho system, you need to be comfortable on the ball, you need to be able to distribute well, and they need to be ultimately at the top of the game in League One in particular. He averages 51.3 touches per game, which is the most out of any goalkeeper in the top 6, which just shows he's willing to be involved in games and he's not afraid to take a chance as well. Will Norris attempts 9.9 long balls per game. That's not the most impressive thing, despite that being the top number compared to the other top 6 goalkeepers in Sky Bet League One. 40% of those long balls are actually accurate, which just shows his ridiculous levels of quality on the ball in particular. That puts him in the top 96 percentile for accurate long balls, which shows Pompey aren't afraid to go long, and that 40%, by the way, accurate long balls is by far and away the best in the top 6 compared to the other goalkeepers in League One. That shows he's not afraid to go long when the opportunity is right, and Pompey aren't always going to be a side that tries to play it on the deck. They are predominantly based on that, but when you see Abu Kamara, Callum Lang, Kobby Bishop isolated, he's not afraid to go into those players and facilitate chances for them very quickly. Another player I know all about from his time at Bristol City is Marlon Pack, and he has been absolutely crucial to this Pompey system. At 32 years of age, he's still going, and he's still going very strong in League One. 7th most accurate passes in the final third, which shows from a double pivot perspective, considering he's mainly in double pivot, well, with Joe Morrell or with Owen Moxon, is his ability to push forward and then be able to deliver final third passes accurately is really, really impressive, and yet again, testament to John Mousinho and his ability to give players creative freedom to go and really show themselves. Pack averages 83% accurate passes per game, 88% in his own half, which just shows his ability to keep play ticking and to allow maybe other players with a little bit more technical quality, and especially off that front three of Kobby Bishop, it's just absolutely crucial, and that's why him, and especially with his leadership qualities, is just really, really important for this Pompey setup. Similar to Norris, Pack has a 66.5% accuracy of accurate long balls, but that puts him in the top 10 compared to all other outfield players in Sky Bet League One, which just shows that Pack, Norris, and everyone else really are not afraid to go long, and that again, once again, facilitates chances for the likes of Kobby Bishop, Callum Lang, and all the attacking players at John Mousinho's disposal. Arguably the most important position in any system is that main number 9 position, whether that's a kind of direct system, whether that's a possession-based John Mousinho system. How are they involved in the play? Are they getting into the box enough? Are they scoring enough goals? All of that metrics, very important to John Mousinho, and Kobby Bishop is nailing all of them. Kobby Bishop is an excellent link-up striker, is very much involved in things, and that's why he's such a perfect fit for this John Mousinho system. He averages 35.9 touches per game, which is 24% than any other striker in the top 6 of Sky Bet League One. He's got 18 goals this season, so generally he starts moves and then goes and finishes them as well. It is brilliant to see, and just such a crucial part of the John Mousinho system, and exactly why he's one of the best touted strikers in probably the EFL. Ultimately, the main metric for strikers in most systems is about how you get on in front of goal. He scored 18 goals this season for Pompey, and he sits 3rd in the league for most shots on target, which shows he's never really out of games. He's always dangerous, he's always involved in things, but that kind of output in front of goal never goes missing. You could argue Kobby Bishop's clinical nature in front of goal is his most important trait, and that is above all. But what he does with that kind of back to goal play, and what he does with the possession and the creative output for a League One striker is incredibly impressive. Bishop sits in the top 98% for most successful passes compared to other strikers. And taking into context that Pompey have so much of the ball, to not make that many mistakes is actually quite impressive, and one of the main reasons why he's so crucial and been given that freedom to go and really show what he's all about on the ball. Top 98% for expected assists as well, which really is impressive considering he's a striker, and is once again just shows his ability to create chances for others, and his general back to play goal is once again really important. Playing people in, really, really important to John Mousinho's system. Top 97% for most accurate long balls as well, which just shows he might not pretend too many long balls, but his ability to come back deep, his ability to help out the midfield to the pivot and or the number 10 is really impressive, and his ability again to facilitate chances for those forward players really crucial to this John Mousinho system. So all that possession talk surely has to lead to something. Surely there's a reason why Pompey are top of the league. It's not just all about patterns of play and prettiness and really good passing and whatnot. You'd guess right. Yeah, Pompey have been superb in front of goal, and ability to create chances has been magnificent. Last season, so the whole course of last season, they had accumulated an XG of 53.7. This season, with 5 games left to go, they've accumulated an XG of 67.7. That is already a 21% increase, and 5 games still left to play. So that number could increase even further. That increased XG number, a lot of it has been down to the style of play Mousinho has been implementing into this Pompey side. But I'd also argue a lot of it has been down to the fact that Pompey have severely upgraded with the help of Richard Hughes and John Mousinho on those forward options they had last season, like Michael Jacobs and Ronan Curtis left the club. Abu Kamara joined, Tino Anju and Kusini Engi, and Callum Lang later in January, along with the existing Paddy Lane. It's really superb options to have for John Mousinho, and that increased attacking quality has just led to a more increased attacking output. It's all very natural. So that's been why Pompey have been so good in League One this season. For the rest of their run-in, they need 7 more points from their next 5 games to confirm automatic promotion. They're currently sat at 9 points ahead of third place Bolton. Can they do it? They do have some tricky fixtures in there though. Let's talk about it. 7 points from their last 5 games means 2 wins and a draw for Pompey will be enough to confirm automatic promotion. They have a couple of tricky away fixtures in particular to navigate though. Away fixture at Bolton and away at Lincoln, 2 very, very good sides, very capable sides. Lincoln in particular in 2024 have been really, really good under Michael Scubula, have been marvellous to watch, and Bolton away is always a tough game. They need 8 points to win the league, Pompey, but honestly, their next game against Shrewsbury is probably the easiest one out of them all, the next 5 games. So they were targeting 3 points in that one and just easing the pressure before their trips to the Sincil Bank and the Tough Sheet Stadium. So Championship football awaits Pompey, and I do think with the style of football Mousinho is playing, I think it will be easily transferable to the Championship, and I do think that is going to make it quite a comfortable kind of transition to the Championship. But during the summer, they have to make sure that spine of the team, Kobby Bishop, Will Norris, Regan Poole, Marlon Pack, Joe Morrell, to a certain extent, all have to kind of stay there and be mainstays in the Championship next season. I don't want to compare or make comparisons, but Ipswich from this season have done exactly that. They haven't messed with that spine of the team and have benefited a lot since. And it's really important, and it's quite easy to build around that spine and add quality, and the ability to attract more players while during the Championship is going to be crucial as well. I think it's rare from a Pompey perspective to have a crowd like Fratton Park where you're going to sell out most away games, you're going to sell out your home games, and the good feeling factor about the club is back as well. So that's going to be a massive factor for Mousinho and his Pompey side as well. So my mic has died, but thank you very much to everyone who has watched up to this point. Pompey fans, if you've watched up to this point, hit a like if you haven't already, if you have enjoyed this video. Hope you've enjoyed the little analysis on your side. You can probably guess how much I love John Mousinho. I think he's a great manager and will hopefully be one of the top English managers to come. Thank you very much for watching. Hit a like if you haven't already. Subscribe to the Irish Football Channel for more Bristol content in the future generally. But yeah, I'm a Bristol fan, so look, I'm trying to look on with a kind of balanced perspective, and hopefully I've given you that in this video. Thank you very much to everyone who's watched. Keep safe, and I'll catch you all later. Cheers.